Hello and welcome to Ukraine Today's press review. I'm Rahim Rahimtullah. In today's program, we'll look at what the international media has been saying about the case of Dominique Strauss-Kahn, the former IMF chief who was once considered a potential candidate for the French presidency, was acquitted this week of aggravated pimping charges. He was facing 10 years in prison and a fine of $1.7 million. Although in France, having sex with prostitutes is not illegal, soliciting, running brothels and pimping are. So our first piece today, we look at the New York Times, which provides us with some much-needed social background to the case. The paper says pollsters who have looked at French attitudes towards the private lives of public figures say that in general, voters are not swayed by private sexual activities. Although there was considerable interest in Mr. Strauss-Kahn's private life, it did not translate into condemnation of his abilities to work in the public sphere, even though many felt he had crossed a line beyond other politicians' escapades. So the French there apparently pretty relaxed about the private lives of their politicians and public figures. We turn now to the BBC, which has commentary from French legal expert Didier Speck, who appears to back up the view of the New York Times when he says, in 3 weeks, Strauss-Kahn changed his image and almost appeared like a victim. He started off looking like a predator, but in the end, opinion turned on its head, with the realization that nothing extraordinary happened. Speck offers his opinion on why DSK has managed to emerge from the scandal relatively intact. Let's not forget that accusations of sexual misconduct against the former IMF chief first surfaced in 2011 from a New York hotel maid. Speck says, in France, maybe you have quite a tolerance for sexism because men say it's seduction à la française. It belongs to our culture. And in politics, it's not just 2, 3, 5 politicians who are sexist. It really is something we see all the time. So, French attitudes to sex perhaps getting DSK out of jail? Well, for an entirely different view, we turn to Anne Penketh in The Guardian, who says Dominique Strauss-Kahn may have been acquitted on charges of aggravated pimping, but he will forever be guilty in the court of public opinion in France. Penketh believes attitudes in France are changing, meaning antics like those of Dominique Strauss-Kahn won't go unpunished for much longer. But in the end, she says, what is troubling now is that Strauss-Kahn doesn't seem to have learned from his trials. He and his fawning courtiers have naturally been claiming vindication after the verdict, which hinged on whether he knew the women were prostitutes. But as far as the public record is concerned, he has never sought professional help over his violent sexual urges and is still in denial. So, Dominique Strauss-Kahn's still a free man, and even if the French are famously relaxed towards the private lives of their public figures, it seems that any political career DSK may once have sought is no longer an option. But who was really on trial here? Perhaps it was French society, with the Strauss-Kahn case the biggest test to date of their belief in everyone's right to a private life. That's all we have time for today. Do join us again for another press review tomorrow. In Kiev, this is Ukraine Today.